Hi everyone. Good afternoon. My name's Matt, and welcome to another edition of the Texas Book Festival's Literary Lunch Break on Instagram Live. If you can't hear me, hi Katie. If you can't hear me, wave or clap or give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Um, but today I'll be chatting with Jose Ralat, who has the enviable job title of Taco Editor at Texas Monthly Magazine. Jose is also the author of the new book American Tacos, a history and a guide, out now from University of Texas Press, and it's available on bookpeople.com and bookshop.org. So I'll be waiting for Jose to join. I think Jose might be Taco Trail. that might be the name of the Instagram handle. But in the meantime, please leave comments about your taco joint recommendations and favorite taco recipes. Okay, so I am going to try to add Jose here.
Hi.
Hey, Jose. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
Not bad, not bad. Yeah, I just wasn't 100% positive that Taco Trail was you, so I just wanted to be
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, so yeah, how are you doing? And I'm kind of curious how a taco editor's taco consumption habits have changed, if at all, over the last few months. With, are you cooking more at home? Are you experimenting with taco recipes more at home? What does it look like?
I've kind of given up on it.
Yeah.
Even thinking about what to eat for dinner. I was
Yeah.
just, I started with ice cream last night.
Nice. So is the next editor at Texas Monthly going to be an ice cream editor? I mean, that'd be kind of
Maybe,
nice too.
maybe.
Yeah, no.
It wasn't Bluebell.
Do you have a an ice cream preference? I went through a phase where I ate Halo a few years ago, just like a low cal, low carb something ice cream. But what about you?
I like Mexican ice cream. Uh, uh, there's an independently owned place, but like 2 miles east of here, that makes their flavors fresh daily, and I get ha- avocado and guava
That sounds
with
amazing.
yeah. It's really good. It's
Yeah.
really good. But as far as tacos go, I try to eat at least the I try to eat tacos at least once a week now.
Hmm.
While I'm running errands, I'm not going to go out of my way because that's probably not safe. But
Right.
I, I do occasionally use delivery services,
Hmm.
and I encourage everybody to do that at least once a week because it helps.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've been using delivery services a lot myself. Speaking of ice cream, it just made me think. I don't know, I don't remember this being deeply explored in your book, but I noticed kind of a trend lately about ice cream tacos. Um, what do you have I imagine you have a strong opinion on this. What is your opinion?
So there are two kinds.
Mm,
Uh, there's the kind that uses a waffle cone, uh, and that's technically not a taco, but its popularity has has negated
yeah,
that fact. Okay,
yeah.
there are dessert tacos uh, that sometimes utilize ice cream, uh, and I highly encourage eating those.
Yeah, it sounds great. So it
Yeah,
looks like Austin Batcave is chiming in here with Choco Tacos.
yeah. That's a that's a product made by Klondike, that has been replicated even in high-end fine dining Mexican restaurants.
Hmm.
I prefer tortillas uh, with things with, eh, 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 infused with chocolate is really nice.
Yeah.
Of good old fashioned. Are you there? Okay.
Yeah, it was cutting out a
Okay.
little
All
bit
right.
there, but
Yeah.
yeah, no, I'm hearing you.
Uh, drizzles of good old fashioned Hershey's chocolate
Mhm. Yeah,
syrup.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so I feel like I could talk about ice cream tacos all day, but to jump into it, so I know that you were once asked, "Do you like tacos?" I think this is when you started your column for Dallas Observer originally. You wrote about this, and you replied, "Yes, everyone likes tacos."
Yeah.
Matter of factly. You write later too that no other food in America brings people together like tacos. So
Hmm.
I'm curious, why does everyone like tacos, and why do they bring people together? What makes them so magical in that sense?
It's something you can hold. So it's a tactile product that you can easily not, share bites of because I don't recommend that anymore.
Hmm.
But you know, people order in lines, they order in groups, they order more than one at a time, and they share those, and you, you get to talk to your fellow customers, you get to talk to uh, your friends and compare notes and just have a good time.
Yeah, yeah. No, it definitely feels like a more intimate experience. You talk a little bit about chef-driven
Mm.
ideas when it comes to tacos and $40 taco plates. I imagine you can't really replicate that kind of intimate experience easily in kind of a fine dining, atmosphere.
Uh, yes and no. I mean, it depends on how the filling is served. If it's
Hmm.
served family style with a bunch of tortillas, sure. Uh, but otherwise, no. At that point, it becomes a different type of taco, uh, but it remains a taco.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was wondering if you could talk a bit about what you think are the few key moments in the tacos path out of Mexico and Texas toward becoming a sort of dietary staple in the United States at large.
Well, I mean, I, I, I should say, as long as there have been tortillas, food has been wrapped with it or eaten using it. But when we get to the food that we know as the taco, really seminal moments include that it's a workers' food, that it gains popularity, like super popularity during industrialization, uh, and with large groups of laborers movement. Uh, so with miners, construction workers, day laborers, and then it, within the United States, really the treaty of 1848 was important because it cut off the market.
Mm.
You know, the trade routes weren't accessible or, or as accessible. So people may do with what they had, which is what they were doing anyway.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, because that's at its root what a taco is regional. It's composed of what's available.
right, right.
So then, with a large population shifts that have marked the 20th century, you know, you get these developments uh, uh, of these different tacos. So going back to the earliest times, you have all those Mexicans that the border crossed, right? And then you have in the 30s and 40s Jews and Mexicans living side by side in Los Angeles to create things like pastrami tacos. Uh, and then as you go along, you have things like here in Texas with the puffy taco and the breakfast taco as we know it developing out of Mexico, but because of transnational laboring and the fact that in the mid 20th century, gubernatorial candidates campaigned in Mexico as being very important because if you lived in Matamoros, you probably had some sort of link to Brownsville. And if that were the case, you probably voted in Brownsville.
Mm. Yeah, no, I mean, speaking of politics, you go really deep into kind of like the politics of tacos, which I found kind of really interesting. But on the workers' history of tacos, I think it's just, you talk about how it's kind of built into the word itself, taco, um, and the meaning of that word, the etymology of
Mm-hmm.
that word. But since we're talking about puffy tacos, I identify strongly with your admiration of the puffy taco. It's one of my favorites as well. I've lived in Texas for most of my life, but it wasn't until I went to Jacala in San Antonio and had their puffy
Ah,
tacos, which you mentioned, in that
yeah.
chapter as well, that I kind of fell in love and I got my education in puffy tacos. But what I found interesting about the story of the puffy tacos in your book was maybe what it kind of represents about how certain kind of tacos stay in one place more or less, and other
Mm-hmm.
tacos just really spread out. So, can you talk a bit about what makes the puffy taco special and why it hasn't, trekked out to all corners of the United States, as you said, as other tacos have, and how does that speak more broadly to how taco recipes proliferate or don't?
The puffy taco is difficult to make. First of all, you have to get the right moisture content within the raw masa to then fry it so that it puffs properly and you can crimp it into a shell. So it requires advanced knowledge, uh,
Yeah.
uh, which not everyone has, and takes years to master. It doesn't have a long shelf life, but by the time you take a photo of it, it, it's already disintegrating, right?
Yeah.
Right. And a, there's a lot against it in this perception that fried tacos aren't legitimately tacos, which is ridiculous because that's what we all grew up eating.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that speaks to another point that you talk about in the book. And I think this kind of goes into the what you call the Abuelita principle. And
Mm-hmm.
so, what is the Abuelita principle, and how does it and other mindsets speak more broadly to perceptions and myths surrounding what makes an authentic taco and what doesn't?
We all live in our own little bubbles, and that that limits our uh, 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 experiences because oftentimes we resist uh, accepting that we're not the center of the universe.
Mm.
Uh, and so when you talk about Mexican food, that's really emphasized, right? You often hear someone say, when they have nothing else left to argue, well, my grandmother made true Mexican food, uh, and you know what? At its most basic level, what if your grandmother was a terrible cook? All right.
Yeah.
You know, cheese doesn't belong on tacos or Mexican food. That's not true. There's a long tradition of great Mexican cheeses, uh, and it boils down to us accepting two things. Mexico is a huge country, so is America. um, and that just because something exists outside of our realm of experience, it does not, or it is not invalidated. You know, we aren't know-it-alls. We aren't experts on this. Just by the dint that we're on this side of the border, uh, 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 and we should refrain from making needy knee jerk reactions. Because if it's been done here, it's probably been done south of the border. So let's say three things, not two things.
Yeah. Um, so this is probably we could probably spend 30 minutes on this question, but I went, I just wanted to ask. I loved how you called the breakfast taco the Helen of Troy of tacos, and
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering if you could talk about that, and you could talk a little bit about what the Great Breakfast Taco War of 2016 was, and what it can teach us about the conversation about tacos.
Everyone wants to own this beautiful dish that is part of the most important meal of the day, but the fact is that no one owns it. It's not ours. It developed south of the border and then, be, became its own thing here, but out of a process of cultural eh, eh, back and forth. And that has led to a lot of conflict within Texas because as foods travel farther north from the border, they become more distinct, right? And so Austin considers a breakfast taco isn't what is a breakfast taco down in Brownsville, which is on the border. Uh, uh, but because we haven't, all these coastal media types coming in to Austin for big events like South by Southwest, uh, they've associated the breakfast taco with Austin, and to hell with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, no. I think you quoted some line about, oh God, it had to do with the breakfast taco wars, but
Mm-hmm.
someone made a comment about, I'm paraphrasing terribly, but let the cities who have more than what is it, 10% native population, come up with these decisions or something, making just a nod to how, like, everybody in Austin is a transplant, and what do they have to
Mm-hmm.
say, about what a taco is in Texas?
Right. I think that again we, we need a certain uh, uh, deference. We need deference. We need humility, and we don't need to fight over this thing. Uh, really, it's ridiculous. Someone tried to spark a war with me uh, last month, and I stopped him dead in his tracks by saying, "Those who try to ignite taco wars can't finish them." So if you're not from around here, maybe don't even bother because your average Texan can take you down.
Yeah. So Jose, we're almost out of time here,
Okay.
but I wanted to say, so, as people are spending more time at home lately and are cooking their own food, which may include tacos, um, are there any suggestions you have on a simple ingredient or two that anyone can add to a taco that might take it to another level that they haven't really thought about? You talked, for instance, about how mashed potatoes and tacos is a thing, So what do you think?
Yeah. I hate mashed potatoes and breakfast tacos. That's a Taco Deli thing. Uh, and that is a recipe from the founder, uh, 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 eh, 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 Espinosa. But anyway, I would, f- for breakfast, leftover tater tots. Uh, Not that there should be leftover tater tots. Um, you salami's good. Grill it on to the tortilla, And now more than ever, it, it's a good opportunity to try to make your own tortillas.
Mm.
There's plenty of uh, businesses online that will ship you high quality corn flour made for tortillas. So why not try that? That's going to up your game for, from from the ground up, literally.
Yeah, no, the tater tot thing is genius. I am definitely going to try that. Another thing that I've always done, and it might sound silly, but even when I'm eating, a soft tortilla, which is most of the time,
Hmm.
I take tortilla chips and ground them up and put them in there because I like the crunch, whatever.
Yeah.
So that's what I do. But okay, so Jose's book is American Tacos. I haven't held it up yet. I think it might be reversed in Instagram.
Yes, it is.
So, but there it is. Wonderful book, highly recommended. American Tacos, A History and a Guide, and it's available at bookpeople.com and bookshop.org. Thanks again so much for talking, Jose. And
Thank you for having me.
before we go, is there anything else that readers should look for in American Tacos?
Within the book,
Yeah, in the
or
book.
geez, look for the sidebars. There's a lot. There are a lot of developing styles uh, that that aren't quite codified yet, but that we can find here in Texas. So like subcontinental Indian tacos,
Mhm.
right? The the those are out of Houston, uh, but they have them down in Austin too. Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, thanks again. Thanks again, Jose.
Thank
It was
you.
great talking to you.
Have a good one.
All right. You too.
Bye.
Bye.